Donna Sherman, at 72, sat in her favorite armchair by the window, her eyes tracing the rhythmic dance of tree branches swaying in the breeze. It was a quiet afternoon, one of many in the past few years. The house, once filled with the chaos of children and laughter, now felt like a hollow shell. Donna's once vibrant home, nestled in a quiet suburban neighborhood, was now a place of reflection and solitude. She hadn't seen her son, Steve, or her daughter, Jenny, in years, not since the day they left home to build their own lives. Calls had become infrequent and visits even rarer. She reached for the photograph resting on the table beside her, a picture of a younger Steve and Jenny, smiling at her from a family vacation they had taken when the world felt less complicated. Her fingers grazed the edges of the frame, her thoughts drifting back to the days when she had been their world. The ache of her estrangement was a familiar companion, one that had grown sharper with time. She often wondered where they were, what they were doing. Were they happy? As if the universe had heard her yearning, Donna's phone rang, jolting her from her reverie. She glanced at the screen. Steve's name lit up the display. Her heart skipped, but she quickly wiped the expression from her face. A polite smile, an even tone. That's how she had learned to speak with her children after all these years. "Mom," Steve's voice crackled through the phone, low and hesitant. "We've been thinking about you. Jenny and I, we want to make sure you're okay." Donna's breath caught in her throat. She blinked, the weight of the moment heavy on her chest. She hadn't heard from Steve in nearly 6 months, not since his brief holiday message. And Jenny, it had been far longer. "I'm fine," Donna said, trying to keep the excitement from creeping into her voice. "Just enjoying the peace and quiet. How are you both?" There was a long pause before Steve spoke again, his words measured and almost rehearsed. "We've been talking, and we think it might be a good idea if you move closer to us. Jenny and I have been discussing it. Maybe you could sell the house and come stay with one of us. We'd love to have you nearby." Donna's heart fluttered, a mixture of hope and hesitation swirling inside her. Could this be real? After years of feeling like a ghost in their lives, this was the breakthrough she had longed for. Maybe Steve and Jenny truly cared. Maybe they wanted to make things right. "I'd like that," Donna replied softly, her voice trembling. "I'd love to be closer to you both. I've missed you." The conversation ended with promises to talk more soon, but Donna was already lost in a world of possibilities. Her children wanted her. They wanted her close. She could already imagine the bustling holiday dinners, the laughter filling her home again. Her heart, starved for connection, bloomed with the possibility of a future where she was no longer alone. Donna had never thought much about selling her house. It was the place she had built a life, raised her children, and dreamed of growing old in. But when Steve and Jenny's suggestion turned into a practical plan, Donna couldn't help but feel the tug of excitement. They wanted her to be with them, close enough to share the quiet moments, to bridge the gap that had grown between them. The idea of selling the house and moving into a new chapter of her life filled her with a rare sense of hope. She wasn't just giving up her home, she was opening herself up to the possibility of reconnection, a family once more. The next few weeks passed in a blur of packing and paperwork. Her house, which had once been a sanctuary, was now a collection of memories in cardboard boxes. The walls, which had witnessed so many moments of joy and sorrow, now felt emptier with each passing day. But Donna kept herself busy, reminding herself that it was all for the better. On the day she signed the sale papers, Donna was filled with a bittersweet sense of finality. She handed over the keys to the new owners and took one last walk through the house. It was hard to let go of the rooms that had sheltered her through decades of laughter, tears, and quiet nights. But she told herself that this was the right choice. Soon enough, Steve and Jenny arrived to help her pack the last of her belongings. Their presence felt different now, almost forced, as if they had finally decided to show up out of obligation rather than genuine affection. Donna tried not to dwell on the odd tension that lingered between them. She was determined to focus on the positives. "Are you ready, Mom?" Steve asked as he loaded a box of her things into the trunk of the car. His voice was flat, as though he were reciting a script he'd rehearsed 1,000 times. Donna nodded, though her chest felt tight. "I'm ready. It's been a long time. I can't believe this is happening." Jenny gave her a strained smile, avoiding eye contact. "It'll be good to have you closer, Mom. You'll see." As they drove away from the house, Donna tried to push away the nagging feeling that something wasn't quite right. Steve and Jenny had been distant for years, and now, when she was at her most vulnerable, they suddenly wanted her close. It didn't sit well with her, but she buried her doubts beneath a thin layer of excitement. But when they arrived at the address Steve had given her, Donna's stomach sank. It was a large, imposing building, too large for a family home and far too clinical. The air felt thick, sterile, as though it was designed to keep the world at bay. It wasn't a home, it was a nursing facility. "What's this?" Donna asked, her voice trembling as she looked from Steve to Jenny, her heart pounding in her chest. "I thought we were going to your apartment." Steve hesitated, his eyes avoiding hers. Jenny's face flushed with guilt. "Mom," Steve began, his tone almost apologetic, "we thought it might be best for you to be somewhere with more care. You've been living alone for so long. This place will look after you." Donna's heart dropped, the weight of betrayal crashing over her. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. She had sold her home, her sanctuary, and now, here she was, in a cold, unfamiliar place. This wasn't the life she had imagined for herself. "Care?" Donna echoed, her voice cracking. "You lied to me." Jenny shifted uncomfortably, her eyes darting to Steve for reassurance. "We didn't want to worry you, Mom. This is the best option for you, you'll see." Donna could barely speak. The dream she'd held onto for so long had shattered, replaced by the harsh reality that her children were more interested in her money than her well-being. The thought of spending her final years in a place like this, isolated, away from everything she had known, felt like a death sentence. She wanted to scream at them, demand an explanation, but all she could do was nod silently and walk into the facility. Her world felt like it was crumbling beneath her feet, and she had no choice but to let it happen. Days turned into weeks, and Donna adjusted, at least on the surface. The nursing home was a place of routine, where the days blurred together in a haze of meals, medicine, and scheduled activities. It wasn't the life she had hoped for, but it was a life, and she knew she had to make the best of it. It was in this stark environment that she met Gabby and Peter, a couple who lived 2 doors down from her in the same wing. They were in their late 40s, with 2 young children, Noah and Sophie, who often visited their parents in the afternoons. Gabby, a warm woman with a generous laugh, quickly struck up a conversation with Donna one afternoon while the older woman sat in the communal lounge, reading a book. "You look like you need some company," Gabby said, sitting down next to Donna with a friendly smile. "I'm Gabby. My husband Peter and I just moved here with the kids. There are everything, you know." Donna gave a small, polite smile. "I know what you mean," she replied softly, her voice tinged with the sadness of her own loneliness. "I used to have children, but it's been a long time since they've been around much." Gabby's eyes softened with understanding. "It's tough, I know, but we try to make the best of things. We make sure the kids see their grandparents as often as they can. It keeps the place from feeling too cold." Peter, a quiet man with a thoughtful demeanor, joined them soon after, bringing with him 2 cups of coffee. He handed one to Donna and offered a warm handshake. "You'll get used to it here, Donna," Peter said gently. "It's not much, but we found our little corner of peace in this place. You just need to make some good friends." Over the next few weeks, Donna grew closer to Gabby, Peter, and their children. Their home was warm and full of laughter, a stark contrast to the sterile walls of the nursing home. They invited her to meals, included her in family activities, and slowly, Donna began to feel the stirrings of something she hadn't felt in years: connection. One afternoon, while walking together through the garden behind the facility, Gabby spoke about a house she and Peter had recently bought. It was an old, worn-down place, but they had big dreams for it. "We're fixing it up bit by bit. It's a lot of work, but I think it'll be worth it," Gabby said, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "Would you like to come by and see it sometime? It's a mess right now, but we could use an extra set of eyes." Donna, touched by their kindness, agreed without hesitation. She hadn't realized how much she missed being around people who cared, people who included her in their lives without an agenda. A few weeks later, Donna visited Gabby and Peter's new home. It was as charming as it was: run-down, dusty floors, peeling wallpaper, but with an undeniable potential. Gabby and Peter showed her the plans they had for each room, and Donna, for the first time in a long while, felt a spark of hope. "I think it's wonderful," Donna said, looking at the space with new eyes. "I can see it all coming together. It's going to be beautiful." Peter smiled. "Maybe you could help us with some ideas? You've got an eye for things, Donna. You've been through enough to know what makes a house feel like a home." Donna was taken aback. No one had ever asked her for advice on something like this before. It was a small gesture, but it meant more than she could express. It made her feel needed, valuable. Over the following months, Donna became a regular visitor at Gabby and Peter's house. She spent afternoons there, helping to pick out colors for the walls, selecting furniture, and offering ideas for the garden. It wasn't just about the house, it was about the connection, the feeling of being part of something again. But one afternoon, while helping to clear out a closet in the basement, Donna stumbled upon something unexpected. Behind an old wooden crate, buried beneath layers of dust and forgotten belongings, she found a small wooden box. Inside, it was filled with gleaming gold coins, ornate jewelry, and old priceless trinkets. Her heart raced as she sifted through the contents, the weight of the discovery settling in her hands. It was a hidden treasure, one that had clearly been forgotten by the previous owners. Donna knew instantly that she couldn't reveal it. The discovery was too precious, too powerful. It was a secret she would keep close, one that could provide security, peace of mind in the uncertain days ahead. At first, Donna didn't know what to do with the treasure. But over time, as her health began to deteriorate and she started thinking about her future, the plan began to take shape. She would use the wealth wisely, help those who had shown her kindness, those who had treated her like family, when her own children had turned away. Donna's health began to fade more rapidly as the months wore on. She'd always been a resilient woman, but age had a way of catching up with you. Her visits to the doctor became more frequent, and her body, once strong and able, seemed to betray her at every turn. Yet through it all, she remained determined to live her days with purpose. Gabby and Peter, with their twins in tow, continued to be her anchor, visiting her every day, including her in their lives. The children's laughter filled her heart with warmth, and she began to feel truly at home in their company. In them, Donna saw the family she had longed for, the family she had lost and then rediscovered in the most unexpected of ways. Their kindness, their warmth, and the unspoken bond they shared with her filled her with a deep sense of peace. But as Donna's health continued to decline, her thoughts turned more frequently to what would happen after she was gone. She could no longer ignore the fact that time was slipping away, and with it, the opportunity to make decisions that would ensure her legacy lived on. Her estranged children, Steve and Jenny, had already shown their true motivations. Her well-being had never been their priority, only the money she represented. Donna knew that her fortune, amassed over decades of hard work and sacrifice, could be used for something far more meaningful than simply passing it on to her children, who had abandoned her when she needed them most. One evening, as she sat in her chair by the window, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold, Donna began to write her will. She had no doubt about what needed to be done. Gabby, Peter, and their children had become her true family. They had shown her more love and care than her own children ever had in recent years. They were the ones who deserved everything Donna had left to give. The words came easily as she wrote down her final wishes, ensuring that her estate, everything, including the gold she had discovered, would be passed on to Gabby and Peter, along with a sum of money to ensure their children's future education. She wanted them to thrive, to have the opportunity she had always hoped her own children would have. It was the least she could do after all the love they had shown her. Once the will was complete, Donna felt a deep sense of relief. She had made her peace, knowing that her final act would be one of love and gratitude to the people who had become her family. When Donna passed away quietly in her sleep, surrounded by the warmth of her chosen family, the news of her death hit the community hard. But nothing was more shocking than the reading of her will. Steve and Jenny arrived at the lawyer's office, both dressed in dark, formal clothes, ready to claim their share of their mother's estate. They had assumed that Donna's wealth would be theirs to inherit, the result of years of waiting and occasional contact. But when the will was read, they were stunned. Donna had left everything: her house, her savings, and the treasure she had found in the basement, not to them, but to Gabby, Peter, and their children. She had made it clear that her children were to receive nothing, citing their years of neglect and emotional abandonment. In her final words, Donna had written that they had lost the right to her love and trust, and that her true family was the one who had supported her in her darkest times. Steve and Jenny were furious, of course. They insisted that their mother had been senile, that she couldn't have possibly understood what she was doing when she made the decision. They hired a lawyer and attempted to contest the will, arguing that Donna had been manipulated by the family that had taken her in. But the court sided with Donna's wishes. The evidence was clear: Donna had been in full possession of her faculties when she wrote the will. She had made her decision with love and intent, and the judge ruled that her final wishes would stand. In the months following the court ruling, the community rallied around Gabby, Peter, and their children, who honored Donna's legacy in the most profound way. They used the fortune Donna had left them to fund a community outreach program that helped elderly people who had been abandoned by their families, offering them a safe place to live, resources, and emotional support. Donna's name became synonymous with generosity, love, and second chances. Steve and Jenny, after their failed attempt to challenge the will, were left to reflect on their actions. Their mother's passing, and the way she had chosen to leave her legacy, left a permanent mark on them. They would never know the full extent of what they had lost, but they knew they had lost their chance at redemption. For Gabby, Peter, and their children, Donna's death wasn't just a loss. It was a reminder that family isn't defined by blood, but by the bonds we choose to form, the people who stand by us when we need them most. Donna's story became a beacon of hope in their lives, a reminder that true wealth lies not in money or possessions, but in the relationships we cultivate and the love we give. And in the end, Donna's legacy was exactly what she had hoped it would be, a life defined by love, kindness, and the family she had chosen to surround herself with. Through their efforts, her memory would live on, a testament to the power of second chances and the enduring strength of the human heart. So if you love this story, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell, and comment below. Your interaction helps us grow,